What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Mikey today coming at you through this fickle thing we call the internet. And if there's something that I've felt like is happening for a long time, I'm right and it is happening. And I watched a video and I'll link to it, I think. It's by the real life fake wizard. And he did a video 7 days ago. I just watched it and it's something that I've noticed for a while. You know how a lot of people are like, the industry needs to crash. We need to have a crash. The industry needs to crash. We're in that crash right now. All the studios closing down and everything. It might not seem like it to you, but we are in that crash. It's happening now. All right. That's why there's so many studios being closed. That's why there's so many people losing their jobs in the industry. We try to nail it on we try to pin it on AI and whatnot, but it's not. It's the industry is crashing. The industry is crashing. And after watching his video that he did, and let me just kind of tell you the title of the video. It says corporations are co-opting indie games, and there's a lot going on in that video, and I will link it for those who want to watch it. But what I want to focus on is the fact that, yeah, we're in a crash. That's why so much is happening like it is. Games are not selling the way that they were. Everything's been milked. The suits have ruined it. And the only place, what was I saying? A bit of a jump cut there. The only place that there's any innovation, the industry is risk averse. That's number one. That's why we see so many reboots and remakes going on right now. That's why we also see things like remasters. The industry doesn't innovate anymore. The industry hasn't innovated in a long time. Innovation is dead. But do you know where there is innovation? In the indie sector. So basically what is happening, and this is the way I feel like it's best phrased. The way to phrase it as what's happening is there are studios that are lying and saying they're indie while being bankrolled by other companies like Tencent. And so what they'll do is, oh yeah, this IP you did is great and everything. You tried it, you spent the money, we barely have to spend any money. You come up with something that works well, then we hype it up later. We add in, weird monetizations and whatnot, crap nobody cares about. We turn it into AAA slop with microtransactions. And then once the well runs dry, they then turn around and close the studio. This is a thing that's happening because that's where the innovation is. That's where the ideas are. But the rest of the industry doesn't know how to do anything but milk the goddamn hell out of anything that already exists with microtransactions and other bullcrap, because it's not about the art anymore. It's not about making a fun game. And there was a survey, and it's in the video. Watch the video. There's a survey that says that the most important thing to a lot of gamers is gameplay. Gameplay is the most important. Gameplay is what we care about most. And that visuals don't matter much at all. And this is true. It helps that we kind of reach that pinnacle. You know what I mean by pinnacle? I just feel like something's on my camera. We've reached that pinnacle. You know what? Fucking hell. Crap on my camera. So, I can't remember where I was exactly, but what it is and what's happening is all the studios closing down, everything going on with Xbox. That's the crash. And what the industry, the AAA industry, has decided to do is try to milk the indie industry. They'll bankroll a smaller studio, an indie studio. They'll give them some money. Then when things don't work out, they'll abandon it, let it implode, let people lose their jobs. The industry is in a very sad state. It is a mess. It is effed in the A. And you might not think so, but I am certain that Nintendo's about to feel it. Like it or not, they're about to feel it, because their greed is starting to reach the levels of greed that we see with other big companies like Microsoft, Xbox, and even PlayStation. They're kind of going into that territory. It's slowly becoming less about innovation for them and more about trying to milk the consumer. And it's who's in charge. We don't have the right people in charge anymore. Back when it was Iwata and Reggie Fils-Aimé, we had the right folks in charge. We don't anymore. Nintendo, you might not be seeing it yet, but the moment that the Switch 2 price goes up, and it will, the sales will dive. Okay? The last thing they need to do, and here's the thing, I guarantee you that they're making a decent enough profit on their hardware. They don't really have to do what they say they have to do. I don't know. Everything is screwed. That's what I do know. I do know that nothing is the same that it was. There are constantly people saying the whole industry just needs to crash. It is crashing. That is what is happening now. That is why there's so many layoffs. That's why so many people are losing their job. You might want to blame AI, but really it's sales. The sales are down pretty bad in a lot of situations. So what does that mean? What's going to happen with the industry? And I remember watching, I won't name names, somebody getting pissed because a game was coming out from an indie studio, by the way. A game was coming out in a franchise, and they threw a fit because it wasn't the big extravagant AAA vision that this particular person saw in their head. Well, I got news for that person. I got news for a lot of people out there. We're going to see fewer and fewer of the AAA stuff. And are they trying to use AI to shortcut and get the AAA visuals? Probably, but do we really care at this point? We've reached the law of diminishing returns. We've reached that peak and everything. The visuals don't matter as much anymore. People want to have a good time. They want something that they can afford. This hobby is very screwed, but just like in the 80s, there was still gaming in certain areas. There was still gaming on PC. Games still exist. That's what makes this crash different. Indie developers, PC, Steam. That's why it's so different this time. And that's why this crash is so bizarre and weird. It's that these big companies are then turning around and feeding money into studios that will then turn around and say, yeah, we're indie, when they're not indie. Again, you can watch the guy's video. I'm going to make damn sure I link it in the description. But we are in such a bizarre, effed up place. And it's all because we let greed run wild. All right? And it's going to get worse. You might think Nintendo is safe from this. I guarantee you they are not safe from this, especially with the current leadership that they have. Because the leadership that they have right now is a numbers guy. I've said it before. He's there to help push profits as high as he can get it. That's all he's there for. It's not like before. It's not like with retaining customers and whatnot and making the customer happy. That's how it was under Iwata and Reggie Fils-Aimé. It's not like that anymore. In fact, that's my question. If you were going to hire somebody to take over Xbox because you genuinely wanted to rescue Xbox, you wanted to save Xbox and push it forward, why wouldn't you just reach out to somebody like Reggie Fils-Aimé and ask them if they want to come work at Xbox? That would have been the thing to do. That hit me at off the top of my head. I was like, I should mention that. The industry is screwed. We are having the crash now. It's just morphed into something unusual and bizarre because of what we have nowadays that we didn't have back then. Now, keep in mind, when the crash happened with Atari back then, people were still playing games, especially all over the world. It was PC, computers and whatnot that they were playing games on, like the Atari ST, the ZX Spectrum and stuff like that in other parts of the world. They were still gaming. Games were still sold. It was still a viable business. But I think we're seeing something worse this time because of how incorporated and how global gaming has become. Things are kind of screwed. Things are going to get worse. We are up shit creek, people. You wanted that crash, it's happening. That's why people are losing their jobs. And partly it's just because people can't afford it anymore. The pricing keeps being cranked up, cranked up, cranked up. You can't keep cranking it up. Instead, you should focus on just giving somebody something fun to play. Stop trying to make everything realistic and engrossing and focus on fun gameplay. Stop trying to make everything a Hollywood movie. It's not. It's a game, a video game. Video games are meant to be but one thing. Fun. Fun for everyone. Man. You're going to see.